Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Canada. I hope everybody is having a superb weekend so far. I hope you're all healthy and strong. Students, in this class we are looking at an IELTS speaking part 3, the third and final part of the speaking section interview for your IELTS exam. It's about the last 5 minutes of the speaking interview, and we are looking at the topic of souvenirs, so objects that people buy on vacation to help them remind of a person, a place, an event maybe. Hi Amu, welcome to the group. And this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Both of our websites have interactive practice exams. They have PDF exams. They cover all the sections, not just the speaking. So listening, reading, writing. You can get your writing edited. So there's lots and lots. Welcome, Anish. There are lots of different tools for you. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click this big red button just above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and you can see we're an official IELTS registration center and certified agents with the British Council, so you are in good hands with us. And again, you click that join now button and then you can use the discount code ultimate 9 for a 25% discount off the regular price. Different prices in different parts of the world. In Canada, it's $59 US. In India, it's just $25 US. And you save 25%, so it's only 20 bucks US, and you get all these materials. It's great. It's worth it. Try it. Use it. Improve for your next IELTS exam. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com, green background. Again, click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package there. And don't forget the code Ultimate 9 for that 25% discount. All right, Subshirat, Life in Muscat, Oman, Pachu, Rashika, Rashmi, Tatiana, Namaraj, lots of students joining in on the class and joining the chat. That is awesome. We're going to do lots of speaking today, students, so not just using the chat, but we will actually speak, we'll talk, and I want to give lots of chances for that because it is the final live class of this week. If you have questions, students, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. If you want to get our apps, go to our app store. Sure. Go to the app stores, Apple and Google Play. Get Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. You will see our logos, our shield, and our other shield when you check for the Academic IELTS Help app and the General IELTS Help app. You can get our live class schedules and lots of great content from our Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. And this is a look at the schedule for next week. So right now we've got speaking part 3. Everyone can participate, which is super. And then next week we've got speaking part 1 on Thursday. And then we've got reading and listening on Friday, and speaking part 2 and 3 on Saturday. So without further ado, IELTS speaking part 3. IELTS speaking part 3, first of all, you have to remember it's related, it's connected to speaking part 2. Okay, so make connections among your answers. Okay, we just spoke about a baseball cap that I got on my trip to Hawaii for part 2. If you missed that class, we just had that class. It's totally okay. We had a class 30 minutes ago. It ended. That was a speaking part 2 cue card. It said talk about an object you got on a vacation that reminds you of a vacation. And we spoke about a baseball cap with an image of Hawaii on it, and it helps to remind me of my trip that I took to Maui a few years back. So that's what we did, and when we're answering these questions, you can use that, or you can make up another one and you can use that, right? So Amu, if you volunteer, you can talk about the statue, make connections to that. Amrit, if you volunteer, you can make connections to the sunglasses that you got, that you practiced last class. So, all right. Okay. Amu says, I want to give feedback instead of a question. I always get exhausted after doing simple listening practice for an hour, but I feel enthusiastic whenever I'm attending your session. Thank you all. Thanks, Amu, for that comment. I appreciate it. Okay, I am looking at the chat here, everyone. That's kind of what I was taking a peek at. Okay, so souvenirs. Souvenirs are objects that we get on a vacation. Objects we get on our travels to help us remember places, people, events. We also call souvenirs keepsakes. So a synonym would be a keepsake. An item, descriptive synonym would be an item with sentimental value. Okay, so when the IELTS examiner introduces part 3 will be connected to part 2. Don't forget about part 2, right? So part 2, remember what you said, and also remember the ideas that you came up with for part 2. So in part 2, we came up with some good ideas when we were planning. Part 2 ideas from planning. Okay. So we came up with a statue of the Burj Khalifa. A trip to Dubai. Right? We came up with a keychain. That was, I can't remember, it was maybe a trip to New York or something. Doesn't matter. Okay. Of course, we talked about the baseball cap from Hawaii. That was our main response, right? So keep those in mind because they will become useful to answer questions in speaking part 3. Okay. Now in speaking part 3, connect your answers, give full sentence answers, use the question, use the grammar of the question. Okay. So use the question, use the grammar of the question to help you give clear and complete answers in part 3. Okay, that's what you want to do. Use your concepts from part 2. Again, just a reminder, right? Okay. All right, everyone. So let's do this. Let's get into talking about souvenirs. So the IELTS examiner will again say, that is the end of part 2. We will now continue with part 3. I will take back the questions. Please turn over your note paper and put your note paper and pencil to the side. For part 3, I will ask you a question or two related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. So the examiner might ask you something like, what are common souvenirs found at most tourist destinations? Okay, give me a nice full sentence answer to this question. Now pay attention that souvenirs here, it's plural. Okay, so your answer should be plural. I'm going to write an answer. You write answers into the chat. We'll compare it, okay, and then we'll discuss it. So okay, there's my answer. I just quickly kind of typed it up and threw it up there based on my visualization, based on my experience, and based on what I said in part 2. Okay. Paraphrasing. So what are common souvenirs found at most tourist destinations? Present simple using the passive voice. Are common souvenirs, right? So are present simple, found at most tourist destination. That's using some of the passive voice. So here I paraphrased, instead of souvenirs, keepsakes that are frequently, instead of common, I use the word frequently, found. Okay. Using the question, at most touristy sites. So instead of tourist destinations, just that little tiny paraphrasing there, but very effective to get the higher lexical resource marks on your IELTS exam. So touristy sites are articles of clothing, like a baseball cap I just talked about, right? Making that connection. Or maybe a t-shirt, as well as keychains and small statues depicting local landmarks. These are cheap and remind people of the places they visited. Explanation. Present perfect. I've seen so many. Quick, smooth example. I love New York shirts in my life, and I have. I think everybody has. They must be the most popular tourist t-shirt in the world, I imagine. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's the I Heart New York. They must have made like one shirt for every human on the planet that says I love New York. I would imagine. Anyway, I've seen a lot, not just in Canada, but in other places that I've traveled to as well. So that is a sentence, okay? All right. Ken in our chat says, well, oh, it's just the end of it, Ken. Let's get that whole piece. Okay, and I see your correction there too, Ken, so no worries. All right. So Ken says generally, let's make a couple of corrections here, Ken. So generally, the most, because it's unique, right? Most, superlative, usually takes article the. So generally, the most common souvenirs you can, ooh, I hate that word, you. Yeah, that's the word that you say. Ken's like, oops, I used you. That people, tourists, travelers, right? Individuals. So generally, most common souvenirs people can find in tourist spots, nice paraphrasing, spots, are keychains, printed shirts, small p. Those are just common nouns, Ken. Hats, figurines, and fridge magnets. Why? Okay. Notice how the follow-up question is coming here from the examiner. And the follow-up question is going to be, why are these so popular? If you answer that question nice and smooth with your first answer, then they won't ask you that second question. They'll just move to the next set of questions. It's always good to include reasons, Ken. Okay. Jiang, listening 7, writing 6, reading and speaking 4.5. Jiang, got to work on that speaking. It's good that you're in the class. Okay, and where's the example, right? So we got to be fluent. In part 3, you don't want to underspeak, you don't want to overspeak, but you want to give just the right amount of information. Give an answer, an explanation, and often think about including an example. It doesn't have to be a personal example. You don't have to say I, me, or my. Sometimes it makes sense, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a general example, right? So like there are so many I Love New York t-shirts around this world. I guess it's a very popular souvenir from there. Okay, so you can make them general, all right? Okay. Mad Lab says the most common keepsakes found, or the common keepsakes found at most tourist spots, are objects prepared by the local community, such as clothes, as well as small models of famous monuments of the vacation place. Like what, Mad Lab? Give me a, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, maybe, okay, or Taj Mahal in India, right? Okay, good. All right. So here is what I wrote, everybody. Speak and repeat. So speak plus repeat. Copy my intonation. Copy my pronunciation. I speak, by the way, with a West Coast North American English accent. It's not a Canadian accent. I don't say a boot. Many Canadians don't say a boot. Canadian American accent doesn't really exist, okay? That's kind of a myth. It's kind of weird because people say that all over the world. They'll say, it's a British accent. British accent? What? Yeah, we can kind of generalize, but it's strange because there are so many different accents in Britain, and there are so many different accents in North America as well. It's more regional. I speak with a West Coast, Northern West Coast accent. So if you visit Vancouver or Seattle or San Francisco or Los Angeles, even I think people in San Diego, when I was there, they sound very similar. We sound very similar to each other. People in central, southern U.S. especially sound quite different. People on the East Coast, New York, Toronto, they sound kind of different. So it's regional. But the West Coast accent, it's the one that many people are familiar with. My accent is the accent you see in most Hollywood movies. Hollywood is in LA, of course. It's no surprise. So you see it in a lot of movies. It's a crisp, clean, clear accent, so it's a good one. Okay, so it's a good one to practice. So speak and repeat. Try to copy the way I say the words as well. Okay. All right. So the question here, what are common souvenirs found at most tourist destinations? Keepsakes that are frequently found at most touristy sites are articles of clothing, like the baseball cap I just talked about, or maybe a t-shirt, as well as keychains and small statues depicting local landmarks. These are cheap and remind people of the places they visited. I've seen so many I Love New York shirts in my life. Give that answer, the examiner will give you a band 9, guarantee you. Okay? All right. And then they might ask you a follow-up question like, why are these so popular? Okay. So these kinds of merchandise are extremely common because they are both cheap and compact. This means the vendor does not need a lot of space to have lots of inventory, and they can make a good amount of money. A keychain is maybe 10 cents for the vendor, but they can sell it for $2 and have hundreds of them on a small stand. Okay. Answer, explanation, example, numbers, right? So why are these so popular? These kinds of merchandise are extremely common because they are both cheap and compact. This means the vendor does not need a lot of space to have lots of inventory, and they can make a good amount of money. A keychain is maybe 10 cents for the vendor, but they can sell it for $2 and have hundreds of them on a small stand. Visual, right? Stand, keychains hanging off of it. Okay. All right. Mad Lab, I can see that you're not finished yet. You say they remind people of the place they visited and they are inexpensive. I've seen so many idols of Radha Krishna in almost every household. Amu says, these items are well liked and bought by most tourists because they help cherish memories and act as evidence of their trip. People usually love relishing their special moments. Very nice, Amu. I like the use of vocabulary there, like relish, cherish. Those are good words, relish and cherish. All right. Viewers, we've got a lot of typing going on. I think we've got lots of listening going on, but I'm curious of how much actual speaking we have going on. This is a speaking class, and ideally you are speaking, not just listening and typing. And Jiang, I bet that's what you want to do. Because in order to improve from a 4.5 to a 6.5, you got to speak. You got to speak. There's no way around it. You can't learn to speak English well, or to speak well for that matter, if you're not speaking. I think one of the reasons I like to believe that I speak quite well is because I like to speak, as you can guess. Right? Okay, Tatiana says, my coffee cup with images of gaudy mosaics on it, I use daily to drink coffee from, as a reminder of my great holiday I had in Spain in 2015. It's nice, Tatiana. Okay, so everybody, let's speak. Let's speak. Okay, so enough of the typing, enough of the thinking. Many of you have been with me in these classes lots. You know how to do this. You know what to do. So let's speak, okay? Let's speak. And I'll show you how to speak for those people who are here maybe for the first time. So let's volunteer for speaking. You can talk to me. Believe it or not, I can actually have a conversation with you and give you a band score, tell you what to do. So, to volunteer for speaking, go to our website, aehelp.com. Create an account, log into your My Student account. Click on the button in your tools that's a student partner speaking. When the browser says, do you want to let this website allow, or it will say allow this website to use your speaker and microphone, then you have to say yes. We can't, there's no telepathy going on yet. Telepathy means transferring thoughts from one brain to the other. So there's no telepathy. So you got to enable your microphone and your speaker. And then test it. I highly recommend, before calling me, before you message me, try it with somebody else. So send somebody a message and say, hey, let's just do a quick question. You can test this out, make sure I've got it set up okay. And then you can message me. You will see me as a master. And then you can message me and say, I want to volunteer. I want to answer a question or two. And then I'll find different students. So I'm going to randomly, I try to be fair. I try to choose different students at different times in different parts of the world, different genders, as much as I can. So hang in there. Wait for me to ping you, and then hopefully we'll connect and we can do this up. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, lots of fridge magnets going on. Yeah. All right, so here we go. So let's go to the website. This is the General IELTS website. You can join this one if you're doing the General IELTS exam. To join for free, click the green button. To use all of our exams and everything, click the red button. For the academic, it's this one here. It's the blue background. And again, you can click this big red button to join, or this green one. Okay. After you join, you have the My Student account. It's right here. Okay, so My Student account. Click on that. It should auto log you in the first time when you're registering. Okay. And then you have this student partner speaking. By the way, if you want to book a full IELTS speaking interview with me using Zoom, we use Zoom for that, then you can click on this yellow button and book that. It's a 30-minute session. It costs $25 US. You get a full interview, and then I give you corrections, feedback, and we practice a little bit. A lot of people just with one session improve half a band or even a band score by identifying some clear mistakes. So it's a good idea. Okay, and so click on that student partner speaking for today's session, for this session, okay? And then click I accept, start speaking. And then you will be redirected to this page here. And we've got loads of people here. So we have Russia Dual, who volunteered in the last session. We've got Aziza. We've got Shub Sharad. So what I'm doing is I'm reading these names here. Okay. And then you'll also see me, and you can message me by clicking on that blue, this blue envelope and saying, I want to volunteer. Okay. And I just heard a ping. Maybe you heard that too. Amu and Mohammed have pinged me. Mohammed, I saw that you volunteered last class too, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see if you're here. Okay. Let me try to connect with you. And I know I couldn't get to you last class. So here's your chance. I'm glad you came back. Hi, Mohammed. Are you ready? Okay. All right. Hopefully we can connect with Mohammed. Mohammed is being very studious. They were in the earlier class. I believe it's the same Mohammed, although Mohammed, I believe, is the first or second most common name in the world. So I could be wrong. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Calling Mohammed. Again, everyone, if you haven't used this before, I strongly recommend trying it with someone else. Just make sure your internet connection works. Make sure you can use the chat from your country. Some countries have chat firewalls and things. So, All right, Mohammed, I'm not hearing you pick up. I'm getting you lots of rings, so I'm not sure what's going on your end, but if you're on mobile, yeah, Mohammed says there's a problem. That's why you want to try it. Okay, Mohammed, test it out. Try it with somebody else. Figure out the problem or figure out the issue on your device, and then we'll try again, okay? You can message me again once you figured it out. You can say, I figured it out, okay? All right. Okay, let's go from the bottom. Kevin here is... Happy Saturday, says Kevin. I'd love to volunteer. I checked my system. Okay, good, Kevin. Are you ready? That's clear communication. Gives me confidence. All right, Kevin, are you ready? And we're switching gears to Kevin here. And then hopefully we'll be able to connect. Kevin says yes with an exclamation mark.
Hello?
Hi, Kevin.
Oh, hello back to you. Happy Saturday, Mr. Adrian.
Thank you so much. I think people commonly say Happy Friday. I don't know about happy. I guess Saturdays are great days as well. How is your Saturday going, Kevin?
Luckily, I don't have a lot of work to see to today. So yeah, and I'm even feeling better because I've been picked. So so far, it's gone fantastically well, sir.
Nice. Okay. All right. Kevin, may I ask, where are you right now?
I'm in Hanoi. It's the capital of Vietnam.
In Hanoi, the capital. Okay. Yeah, we've had a couple of different Kevins, and sometimes I get confused now. Kevin seems to be a popular English nickname for a lot of men in Asia. I've had Kevins from Taiwan and Kevins from China as well. So it's a good name, Kevin. All right. Kevin, why are you doing the IELTS exam?
So I'm taking the IELTS exam to be eligible for my application to study a master's degree in English linguistics. I'll probably be applying next year in Australia.
Nice. And that's a lovely answer. I can tell that you are paying attention not just to your English, like your vocabulary. You use the word eligible. That's the kind of vocabulary that gets you those high lexical resource marks. So good use of vocabulary. But even more importantly, you're paying attention to your communication and you're giving me clear, complete answers. The IELTS examiners are judging your speaking from every answer that you give them in the speaking section. So even when you introduce yourself, when you say what you did yesterday, or when you tell me how your Saturday is going, the examiner is judging you. So sometimes students think, oh, they don't really judge me on the first few questions. It's not true, okay? They judge you on everything you say.
Yes.
So good for you to pay attention to give clear answers and detailed answers. Excellent. Okay, Kevin. So let's go to part 3, the specific questions. I will ask you some questions. I'll take some notes and then I'll give you some feedback. Here we go. So let's talk about souvenirs. What are common souvenirs found at most tourist destinations?
I think souvenirs that are most present at tourist attractions are keychains and clothing items like the baseball cap that I referenced back in part 2. And I think the reason is because they all have low production costs. So merchants would be able to maximize their profit margin per sale. I think I even heard that selling these items would be twice as profitable as running like a all-you-can-eat buffet restaurant at high tourist season.
Okay, that was really good. Yeah, that's a solid band. I think band 8.5. I think uh, so. To get band 9, you really have to be like, I don't want to say perfect because that's subjective. Perfect doesn't really exist, only in our minds.
Mhm.
But some examiners are very picky about, for example, pronunciation at the band 9 level. So they
Mm.
want to hear like a very smooth sounding English that could be thought of as a native English speaker from US or UK or Australia or something like that. So if you really want to push for that band 9, Kevin, then
Yes.
you want to kind of just practice mimicry, basically copying the pronunciation. Now, I think your pronunciation is closer to, I said it doesn't exist, but let's say American English. So your pronunciation is kind of like East Coast or West Coast North American English. So you sound like somebody from maybe Seattle or somebody maybe from Toronto. You're closer to that.
Mhm.
So that's the accent that I would practice if I were in your shoes, not the British accent, because you don't have that wah and ma sound going on, um, which is good because I think that it's the more crisp, more widely understood accent. So just copy some of that. Your pronunciation right now is a band 8. Like it's clear. A band 8 pronunciation is very good. It's just band 9 is like crystal clear, right?
Yes.
But as far as content and fluency goes, you're basically a band 9 on all those fronts and lexical resource as well. So you're very fluent. You have excellent grammar. You said, so let me just reflect on exactly what you said. You said, I think souvenirs that are most present at tourist attractions. Most present, it's okay. It's slightly odd, but it's okay. Present, it's not really what I would expect to hear in this context, but it's okay. Um, that are most sold, maybe. So I
Um,
think souvenirs that are most sold at tourist attractions are keychains, clothing items, like the baseball cap that I referenced. I really like that. I definitely caught that, and the examiner will catch that I referenced. So instead of saying I mentioned, you said I referenced in part 2. And then you said, I think it's because they have low production costs and a high profit margin or high profit margins.
yes.
That was really good. And then you said something like, I think they make quick
I hope it
thinking.
didn't sound too awkward.
No, I thought it was good. I thought it was quick thinking. And for high band scores, you need quick thinking. You said, I think they make twice the profit on these as all you can eat during peak tourist season, something like that is what you said, which was it was a bit of a weird example, but natural, original. I thought it was okay, so that was fine. Excuse me. So 8.5 is between a very good and expert. 8.5 is challenging even for a native speaker to achieve. So anybody who's getting an 8.5, you're golden. You're doing English linguistics, and I assume that you might get into training people for English in the future as well. That's what you need to get as an 8.5 to do that. So a lot of schools internationally, when they hire English
Yeah.
teachers, they look for an IELTS 8.5 score. So that's a good target. So you're on the right track. Okay, Kevin, any
Thank you, sir.
questions about this?
Yeah, I do think I have one, but it's not really about pronunciation. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I did some uh, practice, a few weeks ago, and a few of my friends told me that my answers they lack depth. I mean, they weren't really well thought out answers. So, I mean, I'm really going after more critiques on this front. So, uh, would
Hmm.
you could you give me some? Could I ask for some advice on how I can produce those answers with depth? I mean, for coherence, not for pronunciation, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Wow. For this particular question that you just answered, I would have to say that you had a lot of depth. So, I mean, it was absolutely, keychains, clothing items, the baseball cap that I referenced. So it had depth. And you gave the explanation, you said the reason for it. So that was, again, more depth. So I think that was good. As long as you're sticking to the answer, explanation, example, strategy, you are going for depth. Now, the other way to create depth is to build visual imagery in your mind as you're speaking. Okay, so let me give you an example with this question. So let's say that you are like, okay, so common items that are found in most tourist destinations are keychains and clothing items. As soon as you say keychains and clothing items, you want to picture a keychain. So not just say the word keychain, but actually have an image of a keychain or keychains, right? So there are different kinds of keychains, keychains that contain pictures in transparent plastic. There are also metal keychains or keychains that have little figurines or little statues attached to them. These are very popular. Why am I able to give that detail of the different types of keychains? Because I can, as soon as I say keychains, I can see the different keychains at the souvenir shop that I've seen during my travels. Have you seen these keychains that I'm talking about, Kevin?
Yes. I mean, I really love it when you included those details at the back. It has become much more graphic. I mean,
Exactly, right? And as humans, we're very visual. So the stories that are most appealing, and when we say stories, it can mean any kind of narrative, even a question and answer like this, right? The stories that are most appealing to us as humans are the stories that we can empathize with, that we can say like, oh yeah, of course, when I go to tourist places, I see those keychains all the time. I'm always looking at, should I buy the one with the picture? Should I buy the one with a little statue? Or should I buy the one with a little funny emoji character, right? So you kind of start empathizing with the speaker. When the speaker wins the empathy of the audience, then of course there's much better communication and you get much higher band scores, right? And so again, the trick there, Kevin, it was a very good question. The trick there is to create the visual image of what you're saying as you're saying it, right? And then you can find more detail to add to your speaking. It's kind of like you're a painter, but with words. So when you paint the house, you then pay attention to painting the windows, and then you maybe pay attention to painting some people in the windows or some plants in the windows that you can see through the window, right? So you continue to narrow that detail. Does that make sense?
yes, I would definitely do that. It's very actionable, much more concrete than the comments that I thought earlier.
Yeah, and that's that's kind of our motto in our company when we help students, and also when we build our materials and videos, is we want to always be actionable. So we never have meetings in our company where we just talk about what we did on the weekend, but we do always actionable, and that's the way to study for IELTS, is actionable types of ideas like this. Kevin, thank you so much for volunteering for that first question. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday in Hanoi.
The pleasure is mine, sir. So thank you for um, spending some time helping me. Happy teaching.
Thank you. Bye, Kevin. All right, everybody. So give Kevin a thumbs up. That was really good. Kevin's question was really good. Okay, that question about like, how do I give detail, right? That's a fair question, and that's a question that's very, very important. So give detail by creating detail. You can't give detail if you don't have the detail in your mind's eye, okay, in the eye in your mind. Okay, we've got lots more here. So I'm going to do a little bit of a bottom of the list, but I'm going to move to the top as well. So we've got John here as well. Let's see where John is at with this. John says, I would like to volunteer. Okay, John, are you ready? Maybe we'll look for a couple of female volunteers after. Okay, thank you for the thumbs up and the claps for Kevin, everybody. That's great. It's really important to show support for each other. Okay, John is ready.
Hello, sir.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great. Thank you. John, even more common name than Kevin. Whereabouts are you, John?
I believe. Well, I reside in Uzbekistan.
In Uzbekistan. So is John
Sure.
your like English nickname?
Yeah, sure. I basically go by John in English conversations.
All right, fair enough. Why'd you pick that name? How'd you pick John?
Well, actually, John is a movie character. One of my favorite actors. Name. He
Okay,
played in many films, and his name is John Williams.
John Williams.
I actually stole the names. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough, right? It's kind of a in a way, it's your souvenir. So souvenirs are not always objects, believe it or not. A souvenir can be like a name, and if you like a certain character, like for example, one of my favorite male actors is Johnny Depp. And if I want to be reminded of this actor or share kind of some similar type of perspectives, then I would adopt the name Johnny, and it'd be a souvenir of sorts. Okay, John, awesome. Why are you doing the IELTS exam?
Well, for my university entrance, and it's one of my hobbies.
Fair enough. It's a good hobby to have, right?
Sure.
So it's a very
Common
profitable
language.
hobby. Yeah, exactly. It has a lot of utility. Okay, good. And IELTS, a lot of people think that it's an English as a second language test, but it's not. It's an English proficiency exam. So native speakers, they also take the IELTS exam if they have to prove like grade 12 English level for university, for example, or even for immigration. So it's good. Okay, John, let's take a look at some of these part 3 questions today. So we're talking about souvenirs.
Right.
I will ask you a question. Give me a nice full sentence answer, and then we will reflect and discuss it. Okay? Here we
Right.
go. So, some souvenirs are very expensive, while many are quite cheap. What is usually the difference between these items?
Well, I believe that the biggest difference between them, the material that maybe the souvenir had in itself. For instance, the statue of for instance, Statue of Liberty, pointing at like New York's, is usually expensive because they usually made from bronze or silver or sometimes even gold if it's so special one. So they definitely cost a fortune. But some, well, can't be like cost effective, made from plastic. So I think materials are the can make the biggest difference between these souvenirs.
Okay. Got you. Got most of what you said anyway. I got enough to give you some good feedback here, John. All right. That would be a solid band 6.5, maybe as high as a 7. Sometimes students really kind of teeter between the half band scores. So, IELTS has these full band and then half band. If I if IELTS had a quarter band, then I would say you're 6 3/4 to be accurate. But thankfully they don't have that granular kind of level. So you're closer to a 7. Okay, so you're closer to a 7. I think if 10 people, 10 examiners heard this answer, probably 6 of them, 7 of them would give you a 7, and 3 or 4 of them would give you a 6.5. Let me tell you why. Okay, so first of all, you're fluent. Okay, most native speakers, they score about a band 7.5 if they just sit the exam and don't really practice much. So a band 7 is quite good. It means that you're a good user of the English language. So you said, well, I believe the biggest difference between them is the material. And then here you had some awkward grammar. That's where you started losing a bit of marks. You said souvenir had in itself. I understand it, but it's certainly a bit awkward. So the biggest difference between them is the material that the souvenir is made from
Oh yeah.
or manufactured from, right? And then you were kind of you did something clever here, because I could tell that you were starting to get a little bit stuck, and you immediately remembered that, okay, if I'm getting stuck, I need to think of an example. So I need to create that picture, right, that Kevin and I just talked about. So create that picture, right? And then you said, for instance, the Statue of Liberty, and then you like the Statue of Liberty. Okay, very iconic. We can all visualize it. And then you said pointing at New York. Okay. Pointing is a bit awkward here.
Yeah,
So
I actually couldn't come up with word.
yeah, it's a tricky one here. One word that you could come up here is reminiscent.
Or maybe civic pride of New York.
Civic pride of New York would have been a very nice expression to use there. Or another one is iconic, an iconic symbol of New York.
Yeah.
And you can even paraphrase New York. You can say the Big Apple. So there are some other ways, but again, that was a little bit unnatural. So that's where, again, you're losing a little bit of marks, right? Understandable, but a little bit awkward. So then you said it's usually expensive because it's made of bronze or something else you said, and then you said gold. That was really good. So you explained what that expensive material can be, right? Which is really good. And you said, so it can cost a fortune. That was a nice expression that you used there to paraphrase that it was really expensive. And then here you kind of ran out of ideas. So you're like, okay,
Exactly.
I'm done, nothing else. And then of course, what happened is what happens to most IELTS candidates or most people. And that is repetition. I repeat what I just said. So the material, and then you said, so the material can make the biggest difference between these souvenirs. Okay. So this is where you lost a little bit more marks, because instead of giving me more information or more detail, you just kind of repeated the same information. And if this happens again and again, it will definitely start costing some band scores, right? So the more detail, the more variety, the more lexical resource, the more coherence, the more marks. So the question here, John, is what could have you done to come up with a new idea, right? Okay. Follow your visualization. So you're in New York, you're looking at the expensive gold Statue of Liberty versus the cheap plastic Statue of Liberty, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where do you see these items? So think about, visualize, be there. Where do you see them? Where do you see the gold one?
Well, that's gold one usually is like held in a big stores, because usually they're in tourist destinations, and they cost a fortune, of course.
Yeah, no, stay with it. So stay with your visualization. You started on it. So you saw a big store, right? You saw a big souvenir shop with the gold one, right? You're usually not going to find an authentic gold Statue of Liberty at a small vendor or a little souvenir stand on the side of the road, right? You're not going to see that, right? Where are you going to see the plastic one?
Any random shop, which is which can be everywhere, like shopping.
Yeah. So like just a small street vendor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you see that difference. So you see this maybe like a large jewelry shop selling the gold one, and you see a small street vendor selling the cheap plastic one, right? So what is another reason for the difference in the price of souvenirs? If you've now created this picture in your head nice and fast, then what would be another reason for the difference in the cost of souvenirs?
Probably the size of it. If it's big, that's it's gonna cost. It may cost a bit expensive.
Simplify. Location, right? Where you buy it. So if you go to a famous large store in New York, you will pay more than if you buy it from some unknown street vendor. Would you agree on that?
Sure.
That location. So the location makes a difference. And if I see that, okay, I can say that, okay, the location of where I'm buying the souvenir makes a difference. If I buy this Statue of Liberty on Staten Island, which has the Statue of Liberty, it will probably cost me twice as much as if I buy the Statue of Liberty in the Bronx or in some other part of Manhattan, right?
Yes.
So again, that makes sense. So location would be another one. Okay, so take your visualization further, right? So when you see the Statue of Liberty, that's great. Now, where do you see it? Who's selling it to you? When you look at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, the plastic one says "Made in China," the gold one says "Made in Manhattan."
Made in New York.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So whether it's made by hand or mass manufactured in another country will again make the difference, right?
Yes.
So those will make the differences. Okay, so let me kind of give an answer to this, and then I'll ask you to repeat once I'm done. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So some souvenirs are very expensive, while many are quite cheap. What is usually the difference between these items? Well, I believe the biggest difference between them is the material that the souvenir is made of. For instance, Statue of Liberty, that is iconic, an iconic symbol of New York, is usually expensive when it's made of bronze or even gold. It can cost a fortune, and it can be quite cheap if it's made of plastic. Also, the location where the tourist purchases the item from a famous jewelry shop, the gold item would be very expensive, but from a street vendor, the plastic item would be a lot cheaper as well. And of course, where it's manufactured, if it's made in New York, it's going to be more expensive than if the statue has "Made in China" on the bottom of it. Okay, souvenirs are very expensive, some are cheap. What is usually the difference between these items, John?
Well, I believe that the biggest difference between them is the material that the souvenir is made from. For instance, the Statue of Liberty, civic pride of New York, is usually expensive because it's made of bronze or even gold, so it can cost an arm and a leg. And also, besides that, I would say the location where it's been can be purchased. Surely, like if one person buys the Statue of Liberty in the New York itself, it's gonna cost as twice as the price of it. It can be in where it can be cost in any random jewelry store. So these are.
Okay, and then just stop there. Stop with emphasis. Yeah, and always be specific. So as compared to buying the Statue of Liberty in Florida or in Miami, right? Just think of another location. Okay?
Yes.
Right, instead of always avoid the anywhere else or somewhere else. So always try to be specific, right? Or in Toronto, believe it or not, there are lots of places in Toronto to buy the Statue of Liberty because it's close to New York. Okay, John, that was great. So do you kind of get the idea now of how to find those more pieces of information to give more detail to what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think I need to see the big picture.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the trick, and I'm happy you said that. Yeah, you want to see the specific detail, so you want to see the "Made in China" on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, but you also want to see the statue being sold in New York and also being sold in Toronto near Niagara Falls. So you want to see small and big. You're absolutely right, John. Okay, John, keep up the good studies, and I wish you the best in your linguistic studies.
Oh, thank you.
Have a nice rest of your Saturday in Uzbekistan. Bye, John.
You too. Goodbye.
All right, that was John, everybody, and we've already got some thumbs up coming from Tatiana and some other viewers, which is awesome. Okay, we've got Anastasia at the bottom of the list here. Anastasia says, "I want to volunteer." Okay, Anastasia, are you ready? Switching to a female voice, hopefully, here. Anastasia. Lots of ways to nickname that name. Okay, let's see if Anastasia is still hanging out with us and ready to answer a part 3 question. Okay, part 3 questions, again, for those high band scores require lots and lots of details. Okay, We've got time. We've got lots of time, students, so hang in there. We've got lots of volunteers, which is fantastic. I'll hop around here. All right, Anastasia. I am not sure if you're still here. I'm trying to give you a good opportunity. Waiting a few more extra seconds, and then if not, we'll go with somebody else. All right, Tatiana has been very patiently waiting here. So let's see if Tatiana is at her station. Are you ready? Are you at your station? Are you at your station? Meaning at your computer. I think a lot of people are ready, but I think sometimes people get up and go do something else for a little bit. Okay.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Tatiana. How is your Saturday?
My Saturday is hectic, but it's okay. How is yours?
Hectic Saturday. Mine's okay. I mean, it's pretty busy. Saturday's a work day for me as well. But I take life in strides, so no complaints. Okay, Tatiana, I am going to ask you a part 3 question. Give me a nice full sentence answer, okay?
Okay.
Here we go. What should people be careful about when they are purchasing gifts during their travels?
I think tourists should be careful about low quality of gifts when they buy, when people buy souvenirs. People can spend money and bring back useless whatnot, and the gift will not satisfy the person it is intended to. The best method to avoid this mishap is to read about the greatest way of nice quality souvenirs in advance before a person plans their trip. For example, before my trip to North Korea, I read a lot about items people usually bring from the country, which will both high quality, nice to look at, and joyful.
Okay, good. All right. So that, Tatiana, would be about a 7.5-ish.
As usual.
Okay.
I'm stable.
Yes, you're consistent.
Yeah, I'm consistent. Yeah,
The word.
stable and consistent.
You're consistent. So, but it takes time to improve from a 7 to an 8. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Language is complex. It takes effort. It takes time. But when you put that effort in, you will improve. And that's what you're doing. So you're on the right track. Why is it a 7.5 for this answer?
Lots of pauses.
Exactly. It just wasn't fluent enough. It was fluent. It wasn't painful to listen to. But I had to be patient. I had to be like, okay, it's coming. More information is coming. There's more information coming. All right, I got the idea. So I had to be patient. If I'm not a patient person, it'd be a tough conversation. Okay?
I got the idea.
So, you had a nice big sigh at the beginning. You're like, and then after a couple seconds, I think, yeah, I mean, for high band scores on the IELTS, you have to be...
No size, of course. Enthusiastic, full of ideas.
Yeah, you have to be like a go-getter. And you have to be like, ooh. And, it's kind of funny because some IELTS candidates, especially those who are sitting the IELTS exam a second or third time, which happens often. So there are a lot of candidates, they start to almost get frustrated or bored with certain parts of the IELTS, like when the examiner is asking about their hobbies or what they did on the weekend. And it's really important to keep in mind that on the IELTS, you paid good money, it's expensive, you have to give it 110% effort. And even if you had bad sleep, even if you didn't have a good cup of coffee in the morning, you really have to just dig deep and speak right away with confidence, with enunciation. So to start your answer right away, Tatiana, use the question. Okay, so what should people be careful about? Tourists must be cautious about the quality of souvenirs that they purchase. Don't necessarily overcomplicate that first sentence or that first answer. Instead, make it quick and clear and snappy. Does that make sense? Right?
Absolutely,
So tourists must be cautious about the quality. And then you can slow down a bit, and then you can, ponder or theorize a little bit more. But at the beginning, just start strong. A strong start will get you a better answer. So that's what I would do. Okay. And then you had some good vocabulary, and it's good to have nice vocabulary like useless whatnots. I like that. Okay. So they spend money to bring back useless whatnots, and mishap was a nice piece of vocabulary as well, which is fine, but just be careful not to sacrifice too much fluency for vocabulary. So if it's taking you, 30-40% more time to think of these kind of more elaborate expressions, then decrease the amount. So reduce the amount of these specific kinds of words and increase the fluency, and your overall score will be higher. Okay, right? So it's a tough balance, but you have to find that. Okay, so let me give you an answer here, and I think mostly your answer was good. We just need to say it faster. So I'm going to respond and copy after I'm done. Okay. So okay, what should people be careful about when they are purchasing gifts during their travels? So tourists should be cautious about the quality of items that they purchase during their trip, because it's easy to buy poorly made products, especially a lot of products that are produced in China, which simply don't look all that nice and break easily. These could be cheap keychains made of plastic or little statues made of plastic. By the time a person arrives at their home destination, they had already broken in their suitcase, and it was simply a waste of money. So it's worth feeling the material, looking carefully at the item, paying attention to where it was made, and doing a bit of research. When I visited South Africa, and bought some small animal statues, I made sure that they were made of quality wood by local craftsmen. Okay? So you don't have to give the exact same answer, just follow the same logic, Tatiana. Okay? Here we go. What should people be careful about when they are purchasing gifts during their travels?
Tourists must be cautious about low quality of gifts when they buy souvenirs for their dearest and nearest. The best way to avoid such a mishap is to read in advance about what kind of souvenirs can be bought. And at the moment of buying a souvenir, it's worth to feel the souvenir, to check the high quality of material or paint, and make sure it's very well done. When I went to North Korea, I read in advance about the kinds of souvenirs which are worth to be brought from, and I bought a nice picture of a Korean bride made of silk, and it still brings joy to my mother. It was a gift for her.
Much better. That was a Band-Aid. Okay, so that was the difference. And I could feel that in that response, Tatiana, you were pushing yourself. So you gave it an extra 10-20% energy to push your fluency forward. And that made the difference of that half band score. Okay? So and I'm sure you felt it. So I'm sure you felt that difference of, okay, I'm pushing to keep talking, keep speaking, and keep being clear and accurate and fluent, and not have to be dependent on the patience of my listener, right? So there I didn't have to be like, oh, I have to be so patient. Here I was like, okay, I got you, great. Okay, Band-Aid. All right.
Thank you.
So that's how it works. So when you're practicing, Tatiana, practice that. So practice pushing. I know it's Saturday. I know it's late for you. I know you have a long day, but you have to push. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's happy Saturday. I will push. I will practice.
All right.
I promise.
Okay. Keep it up, Tatiana. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye for now. Okay. That was Tatiana. So, and that goes for everybody. Okay. IELTS, everyone, is not the place to be too nervous, too stressed, or too relaxed, too content, okay? Complacent. That's the word I'm looking for here. Don't be complacent. Don't be like, so don't do that, okay? Don't be molasses, all right? You got to push. Okay, let's see. Excuse me, everyone. Still just at the tail end of this cough, which is horrible for me because in 3 days I have a race and I got to run. So I really got to fix myself up. But anyhow, the Mad, one of our latest members, Mad, in all caps lock. Very happy Saturday, sir. I'd like to test myself. Okay, Mad, are you ready? Speaking with the Mad. Hopefully, Mad is still here. And awesome. We can connect.
Hello.
Hi, the Mad.
Hi, sir.
First question. May I call you by another name?
Yes, my name is Madhuri, but you can call me Mimi also, sir.
Sorry, what should I call you?
My name is Madhuri, but you can call me Mimi also.
Madri, Minions?
Mimi.
Mini.
Mimi, M-I-M-I.
M-I-M-I. Mimi.
Yes.
Okay. The line is clear. I just, it takes me a second sometimes. I meet with a lot of names, but Mimi, yeah, so nice pronunciation. Call me Mimi.
No, because sorry about the background noise, because I'm a working student and right now I'm outside driving actually.
Ooh, make sure you pay attention to the road. Are you okay? Are you hands-free? I don't want to cause an accident, Mimi.
So can I continue this some other time, or I can pull over?
Yeah, I would. If you can pull over, it's okay. Otherwise, let's continue another time. I would feel safer. Okay. All right. So
okay,
call me
sure.
back. Okay. All right. We'll talk next time.
Sure,
Mimi.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you
All right.
so much for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely, and call me back. I'll pay attention next time. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
bye.
sir.
Yeah, please, everyone, don't use or don't call if you're especially if you're driving or if you're in a dangerous situation. All right, there's no point in creating a bigger problem. So I appreciate you, Mimi, for being honest and for hanging up the phone. And I will definitely keep my eye open for the next time you volunteer, and hopefully you'll be in a more secure environment. Okay. All right. Okay, let's take somebody else. Yeah, we want to be safe on the road. Okay, driving, you drive. You pay attention to driving. Okay, let's see. Anastasia, I think, might have come back. Okay, I had a problem previously, but I would like to volunteer. All right, Anastasia, let's try it out again. So are you ready? See, I remember when I tried with someone and it didn't work, and I give a second chance. So Mimi, I will definitely give you another shot in the future. And again, I appreciate you being honest. Excuse me. Okay, let's see if Anastasia's still with us. Okay, Anastasia is there. All right. All right, Anastasia, sounds like you picked up, but I do not hear your voice. I wonder if you have your audio enabled, Anastasia. I'm sure you can probably hear me. Anastasia, if you're using a mobile device, it can be a lot trickier because mobile devices have more difficulty with multiple audio software like YouTube running. No, I can't hear you, Anastasia. Okay. So check out the software. I'll try again, Anastasia, next time, okay? So try it out with somebody else. If it's working with somebody else, then it should work with me as well. And then we'll connect again, okay? All right. Let's see. Let's give somebody who we haven't heard from in a while a chance. Okay, I think Anish we haven't really heard from. Okay, Anish, are you ready? Yeah, Simran, of course we give people second chances. Yeah, definitely. Second and even third and fourth. So I know it sometimes takes. Anastasia, just hang on a sec. I've kind of switched to Anish. So if Anish doesn't get back to me, I'll pick up, okay? So just hang on 1 second, Anastasia. Okay? And then we can try again. Anish, if you're still there. All right. Okay. Anastasia, I'll try again, okay? Nope, Anastasia, still don't hear you. You can try calling me, but if I'm having trouble connecting with you from my end, I don't know. Well, maybe it might work from your end. You can give me a call, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. All right. Okay, let me reach out to Ghazi. Ghazi, are you ready? Ghazi is here in Canada. Well, just this one. Okay, let me see if this works. Hi, Anastasia. Yeah, I still don't hear you. It would have been logically surprising for me if I could have. Ghazi, are you ready? I know we should be able to connect. You're more or less within the same network as I am, just on the east coast of Canada. All right.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Ghazi. How are you? Good. How is Saturday in Newfoundland?
It's beautiful day, sunny, and yes, perfect. Yeah, it's perfect for go outside. And usually these days of year is cold and a lot of snow, but this year is different actually. Yes, close to the BC weather. So
global warming, Ghazi. Global warming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can feel it. Yeah,
absolutely. Exactly. It's actually a little bit scary how fast it's changing.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is the way it is. All right, yeah. Ghazi. So let me. You're being studious on the weekend. That's good. You're studying. Let me ask you a part 3 question. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we go. So switching topics a little bit, let's talk about decorating the home.
Okay.
If a person wants their home to look beautiful, what should they pay special attention to?
Yeah, so if people desire to make their houses look wonderful, they have to start in furnitures, make the furnitures, put the furnitures in a tiny sheet. Then they have to make sure the wall painting is suitable with the lights. And they have to put all the small items in cabinet. Last month, I bought two plants in my living room, close to my TV.
Okay.
Sorry, there is just my baby is interrupted me
I heard
twice.
that. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm a parent as well. I have two little
Yeah,
kids.
she's
So
1 year old. So
congratulations. Yeah, I have a 6-year-old and 9-month-old. So I know how
yeah,
it
yes.
is. I know
You
how it
have
is.
to keep an eye to her and to you at the same time. So-
Yeah, otherwise they definitely do a good job of decorating the house by pulling down the furniture and the plants and the TV. So,
Thank you.
yeah, definitely. No, that's good. And it's good to practice English with some distractions as well, because
Yeah.
life isn't always perfect. We don't always have perfect situations to practice English. And I think, that's what causes a lot of difficulty for people is they only practice English when they feel like it's a perfect time or a perfect opportunity. But the big trick to get really good in English is just to use it all the time, even when it's difficult. Okay?
Yeah, I heard before this advice. One of the candidates said you have to practice with the noisy environment because there is a lot of other candidates will be with you in the same place during the test.
I mean, that's somewhat true. There's definitely distractions that
Yeah.
will be at the test. But when you're doing the speaking interview, it's usually a very quiet environment. So it's just you and the examiner for the speaking. So there's no real distractions there. But when you're doing the sitting part of the test, there's quite a few distractions with proctors and other students and such. So definitely there's some truth to that. And in the real world, definitely, right? So, when you're in your work environment or in school somewhere, there's a lot of noise and distractions. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that was pretty good, Ghazi. That was not a bad answer. It was about a band 6, 5.5 to 6. Okay.
Thank you.
Again, keep working on that fluency. So if you say it faster, you will get a higher mark. Okay. I like how you reflected the grammar. So the question is asking if a person wants their home. And you said, yeah, so if people desire to make their houses look wonderful. I really liked how you used the question and how you paraphrased the question. Practicing speaking that way, Ghazi, will also really improve your speaking. So it's really good. Keep doing that. Keep paraphrasing. Keep reflecting. Okay? It's really good. So he said, yeah, so if people desire to make their houses look wonderful, they have to start in furnitures. They have to start with furniture.
Yeah.
Okay, so not in furnitures, but with furnitures. And then you had a little bit of repetition there, like make furnitures with furniture's attention. That was a little bit awkward. Here you want to give a bit more detailed description. So, for example, okay, I would say here, they should make sure to buy matching furniture.
Yeah.
The coffee table can be made of the same type of wood as the dining room table.
Yeah, but some names for furnitures, like furniture names, sofa, chair.
Exactly, and see your space. So see the perfect living room in your house, see the perfect dining room, and see how all the furniture matches. It has the same colors, it's made of the same wood. So again, that visualization, that I was talking to Kevin and John about, right? Like, again, just really seeing it, right? And seeing the details. So not just seeing the dining room chairs and the dining room table, but also seeing what it's made of, right? It's made of a nice dark cherry wood, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
That would help.
exactly. So made of the same type of wood. Okay. Then people should pay attention to lighting. Pay attention to lighting. So again, you want to see details. They should purchase lamps that match the furniture. and have a warm yellow light that makes people feel comfortable, or guests feel comfortable.
Yeah, or paint. Paint. The color of paints have to be suitable with the lights, like
Yeah,
the wall.
exactly. The paint. So the light has to be matching with the paint of the walls. Sure. Okay. And then you said they have to put small items in the cabinets to keep their home clean, right?
Yeah.
So finish the idea. Their home clean and organized, which is tough to do when you have a 1-year-old and
Yes.
a 9-month-old,
Yeah.
right?
Just
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I know what your situation you're in. Okay. And then you gave an example, and the example was a bit strange for me because it was a different idea than what you're talking about. So you said, like 2 months ago, I bought some plants and put it next to my TV. And now you're talking about having plants in the home, and you didn't really tell me about that. So make sure that your examples clearly match with your explanations. So you can say, like, I have a really nice steel lamp that is bright and colorful. I don't know, just something simple.
Yeah. So the example has to be
Relevant.
close. To the explanations or what I mentioned too. So.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be relevant. That makes for clear communication. So, okay, I'm going to repeat this, Ghazi, and then just copy after me, okay? So if a person wants their home to look beautiful, what should they pay special attention to? Yeah, if people desire to make their houses look wonderful, they have to start with furniture. They should make sure to buy matching furniture. The coffee table can be made of the same type of wood as the dining room table. Then people should pay attention to lighting. They should purchase lamps that match the furniture and have a warm yellow light that makes guests feel comfortable. They have to put small items in cabinets and keep their home clean and organized. Like I have a really nice steel lamp that's bright and colorful. I love it. Okay, so if a person wants their home to look beautiful, what should they pay special attention to?
Yeah, so if people desire to make their houses look wonderful, they have to start with furnitures. They should make sure to buy matching furniture. The coffee table can be made of the same type of wood as the dining room table. Then people should pay attention to lighting. They should purchase lamps that match the furniture and have a warm yellow light that make guests feel comfortable. They have to put the small items in cabins to keep their homes clean and organized. Like I have a really nice steel lamp that is bright and colorful.
Okay, great, good. So that would be the right information, the right answer. And again, just more fluency. So lots of talking, Ghazi. Talk to people, get involved in your community and talk to your coworkers and make friends and go have coffee with them, go have tea with them, lots of talking, okay?
Yeah, so thank you. Thanks for having me. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ghazi, for being here and for sharing a bit of your experience
And
on
I
the East
appreciate
Coast.
your patience. Yes.
Okay, all right. Bye, Ghazi.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, you too. All right, that was Ghazi on the other side of Canada. A short skip and a hop across the country, about 4,000 kilometers away. Okay, everyone. So we'll stop there for today. That was really good. Okay, some great practice and I think some really good notes to pay attention to, some key takeaway from this session. Okay, visualize, see details. See the big picture, see the details, okay? When you're talking, look more and more carefully at the ideas that you're talking about, so see them in more and more detail, right? Also, give it 110% effort. You have to really give it effort and practice lots. Practice makes perfect. Lots and lots of fluency, okay? Thank you to all of our volunteers, Anastasia and a couple other people, Mimi, that we didn't get a chance to speak to today. It's totally okay. I'll be back on Thursday with speaking part 1. We'll do the same kind of practice. Make sure you're not driving. Make sure you're not chopping up vegetables or something like that. We don't want somebody to lose a finger, so be in a safe environment, okay? And test the system. Use this. This isn't just to talk with me, okay? We didn't build this part of the website just to talk to Adrian. We built this part of the website so that IELTS students can practice with each other, and it's completely free, okay? All you have to do is go to aehelp.com for academic IELTS, register there, or for general IELTS, go to gieltshelp.com. Both websites use the same speaking interface, so you'll see the same people in the same environment. Doesn't matter which site you're on, okay? Support us, help our mission to help you, to help other students around the world. You can support us by signing up for our premium course, getting all of our exams that we use in these live lessons. Use the code ULTIMATE9 for a 25% discount. It's worth it. Doesn't cost a lot of money. Gives you structured materials to help you improve quickly. Okay. Nandita, lots of love back to you in Nepal. Eugen, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend as well. Thank you for all those happy emojis. Rashika, Ken, Amu, Tatiana, Mimi, I appreciate your support. Thank you to all of our members. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria here in Canada on the West Coast. Bye for now, everyone.